Kei Urana, the manga artist for Gachiakuta, is frustrated with how toxic people have become towards her work. During a live stream, Kei Urana got frustrated as she had to shut down many questions of fan canon shippings and asked if she was non-binary, racist, and more. Long story short, she says, from my perspective, this is a common sense rule, but if nobody says it, things will turn into chaos, so I'll say it. What frustrates me is not the unofficial settings themselves, it's the people who throw childish tantrums about them. And believe me, we all know who those people are. It's the godforsaken shippers.
Something Kei Urana must learn ASAP is that there's a huge section of her fan base that are actually non-fans, which is an understatement. They're full-on deranged, psychotic, ruled by chaotic emotion, needing to be in an asylum. And I mean that seriously, that's not hyperbole. They're adult children who the second they don't get what they want, they react in a very spoiled, entitled brat manner, throwing a fit.
I just want a bicycle!
Why are you yelling at me?
They have an unhealthy attachment to the characters of Gachiakuta and a parasocial relationship with Urana herself. They don't see her as a human being, but more like a doll or toy that must behave in a certain way if a specific button is pressed. And if she doesn't, they react like Sid from Toy Story. These are people who've had a bad upbringing. They're socially underdeveloped. The way they communicate is like someone stuck on ecstasy and Adderall at once. Their mind is constantly living in the space of the extreme, which is why they always speak in the extreme, calling her some of the nastiest things, which I can't yet mention because it's still too early in the video and YouTube doesn't like that. Now this is probably something she isn't used to, being from Japan, but in the West, this type of chaotic childish behavior is becoming more normalized, tolerated, and in fact celebrated in a lot of cases. Something she's been forced to realize, having to address this toxic radioactive part of her fan base strictly in English translations. That is no coincidence. Now to her, she most likely thought interacting with her Western fan base is a marker of a creator acting in good faith, something that will be appreciated, showing her human side, and if she makes certain mistakes along the way, that people will be very understanding, because a mangaka who's willing to go out of her way to communicate with her fans is a very rare thing. Let's reward her by treating her with decency and respect. But to these types, things like manners, decorum, decency, and respect are all foreign concepts. And it's people like them that just ruin it for everyone else, which is consistent throughout all fandoms. What she has to realize is that this goes beyond just bad communication skills. These people truly suffer from mental illness. Not only do they have an unhealthy attachment, parasocial relationship with her, but with the characters as well. When we had the fiction versus reality debate online, where we implored these weirdos to stop treating fictional characters as real people, to them, it's the inverse. Reality doesn't exist and the fictional world is the real world. So to them, these characters are real people. They don't see entertainment as something to be entertained by, to enjoy, nor these stories to be inspired by. They only see it as a source to draw validation and limitless affirmations from. And when these characters don't meet their expectations because you, the creator, denies their made-up fantasies and headcanon, they flip the fuck out.
Just flip out!
And to them, if given the chance, I truly believe these people will probably cause harm and become violent towards any creator who dare denies their headcanon. Because remember, they see these characters as real people, so you denying what they believe to be true, they see it as you denying their existence.
Long story short, she's fed up with the shippers, and I don't blame her. And when she denies the claims that people have made headcanons on, she instantly gets slandered because of it. 9 times out of 10, 2 things ruin a fan base. 1, those that just slander to slander because they have an agenda and don't care about the story whatsoever, and those who are shippers who ship characters that were never meant to be together nor had any implication of being together. They then push that agenda, and when it's outright denied, they just go and say the most random, heinous shit imaginable against the person who denied it. Which in this case is Kei Urana being the victim here.
The way they view entertainment is strictly through an ideological lens. Their brains have been so politicized to the point, for most, they become a lost cause. You technically can't communicate with them, which is why during the live stream they constantly spam the same questions, which is why we call them NPCs. They're like robots, only programmed to repeat the same things over and over again. Spamming has now become their way of communicating. These iOS, identity-obsessed fans feel more entitled to your work than you yourself, which is why when you ask politely not to do certain things with your official work, they just laugh, shocked that you would dare think what you create actually belongs to you and not them. They also see your characters as tools, pawns, and political statements. like many other anime characters, only using them for ideological purposes. They're not fans, they're just parasites willing to bite off the popularity or whatever property is trendy at the moment. If you don't draw your characters a certain way or in a certain shade, they'll wish violence onto you or wanting to commit the violence themselves. For them, mental illness has become a default state, not something that just happens here and there on occasion.
And I really don't care. We need to call shippers losers more often. We really do. This shit's uncalled for. And I do not blame her for the way that she's acted towards this Western fan base, knowing how they are. I'm telling you, man, these shippers have been a problem for quite some time. And it's about time somebody said something.
This is a problem creators will face in today's world, where this mental illness is promoted and rewarded rather than condemned or made to face consequences. The more you grow your audience of readers and viewers, the more you attract not just normies, but the deranged person. I think nowadays the smart thing for creators to do is to weed out these people early on before they embed themselves into your garden of a fan base, making it hard for true, actual fans to navigate and maneuver through. There's a scene from a recent episode of Hell's Paradise that really stuck with me, where we get a flashback scene of Tamiya's or Tetsunosuke's character receiving wisdom from his elder, being told that his problem is trying to be everything and do everything, but in doing so, he loses focus, suggesting that instead of going wider, go deeper, increasing your focus as a result. I think this advice can be applied all across the board in countless fields, especially for creators. That instead of trying to grow your base as much as you can, or what many Japanese creators and studios are doing, appealing to the global audience, only focus on your niche base, the die-hard, hardcore, true fans that will actually remain by your side through decades to come. With them comes longevity and sustainability, while with normies and casual fans comes uncertainty and instability. They leave just as fast as they come, looking for the next trend, and the deranged, mentally ill non-fan only looks for validation and affirmation for themselves. Choose wisely by going deeper instead of wider. But that's all I have for this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Now, Kei Urana has addressed this section of people that has hijacked her base, stating how frustrating it is to deal with these lunatics, not only forcing headcanon onto her works, but who she is as a person as well. Due to the popularity of Gachiakuta, she may now need to do this frequently to clean house, which she already seems to be doing with these statements becoming more routine. As I said, it sucks, but it seems nowadays it's almost mandatory to keep the integrity of what you create intact and healthy overall and enjoyable for the actual fans. And also, if you want to support me and the content I create, consider joining my channel. Becoming a member is much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Free think. Peace.